Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Canola Producers Commission, Sask Canola, and Manitoba Canola Growers.
All right, joining us here on Real Agriculture, we have Tracy Jones of Sask Canola and Charlene Bradley, a director with Sask Canola. And Tracy, the organization has commissioned a report looking at component pricing for canola. Maybe first to kind of set the stage, what is component pricing? What does that mean?
So component pricing refers to basically breaking it down to the components of oil content, and obviously there's proteins and starches in canola as well, but the focus of growing canola on the prairies is to market the canola oil. So there was some discussion a few years ago when crush margins were widening, our farmers receiving a fair amount for the canola they're growing, and would introducing the concept of component pricing provide a more transparent price.
So it'd be similar to being paid for protein in wheat as a comparison?
Yeah, similar, but we wanted to look into it a little bit further because, as we all know, it's not a good idea to just compare one crop to the next and assume that all other variables will be the same.
Mm-hmm. And this was a resolution that was brought forward at last year's annual meeting?
Actually, it was brought forward at the 2014 annual general meeting to evaluate the pros and cons of component pricing. And following that, we did some analysis on crush margins and basis to determine whether the published crush margins were accurate, and we felt like we needed to understand a little bit better what a new marketing system would look like and whether or not there would be value to extract for the growers. So we felt like we needed to extend that a little bit further, and we got some consultants to look into what it would look like in terms of the data, the real data, the real price data, and whether or not there would be value, as well as surveying grain companies and surveying other markets who around the world and in other crops who practice a similar system.
Okay, so Charlene, what did they find?
So the preliminary findings is that there really wouldn't be much of a net benefit to producers, and because the cost of for the companies to apply a component pricing system, the premiums would also result in discounts because of costs of the segregation and the testing and whatnot would not allow for the pricing would correct itself really to compensate for the additional costs of the component pricing.
And right now, as a grower, there isn't really a practice that we could encourage to raise oil or that type of thing?
Correct. Oil content is determined on weather and geography, not management practices of growing the crop.
So what happens with this report now, Tracy?
So we basically received a draft report just before Christmas. We had a chance to speak with the consultants directly as an organization, and now we're figuring out next steps in terms of communication, because we really want to make sure that we get this information out to our growers. We'll be publishing it on our website. We also want to look into doing a webinar with the consultants themselves so that there can be interaction with growers who have questions on this issue. We don't want it to be lost in our boardroom discussions, basically.
All right, thanks for explaining this report and taking us through it, Charlene and Tracy.
Thanks, Calvin.